Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so excited to jump into things today because we're looking at a tool that is an absolute game changer for Android UI design. If you build apps, you already know the drill. Creating a beautiful, modern user interface, it can sometimes feel like a massive uphill battle, especially when you're dealing with text inputs. So today, we're focusing on a complete visual guide to the B4XDaisy UI Textarea component. And let me tell you, this isn't just another boring text box. It's a seriously powerful tool for effortless customization, bringing the elegant simplicity of DaisyUI directly into your native mobile development workflow. All right, let's get into it. So let me ask you, are you completely tired of fighting with standard native Android edit text constraints? Yeah, if you're nodding your head right now, you're definitely not alone. We've all been there. You drop a native edit text onto your layout and boom, the real work starts. You want a custom border color? Well, get ready to write some XML drawables. You want it to change color when it's focused or maybe when there's an error? That's even more custom state lists or complex background code. And if you want it to automatically grow in height as the user types, oh man, you're looking at writing some seriously messy line calculation logic. It's a huge developer pain point that styling these inputs from scratch just eats up so much time in boilerplate code. But what if you could bypass literally all of that and just configure beautiful inputs right in your visual designer? Take a look at this. Right out of the box, the standard Textarea features this incredibly clean, subtle border. It's got rounded corners, a perfectly aligned placeholder that says bio. It just looks modern, crisp, and professional. And the best part? You didn't have to write a single line of styling code to get that. But right below it is where things get really fun. That's the Ghost style variant. Notice how it completely ditches the border, blending seamlessly right into the background until the user actually interacts with it. It's transparent, it's sleek, and it's absolutely perfect for minimalist designs where you want your content to be the star of the show without any visual clutter. The fact that you could flip between these vastly different looks with just a single property change is honestly incredible. So how exactly does this magic happen? Well, we've got to look under the hood. Meet B4XD input. This is a highly versatile wrapper class. What does that mean for us? It means it takes that standard foundational Android edit text view and completely wraps it in a modern, intelligent layer of code. It uses Java objects internally to access those deep native properties, apply custom typefaces, handle padding, manage background states, the whole shebang. Basically, this wrapper does all the heavy lifting for you. You don't have to build custom wrappers or juggle focus listeners just to change a border color anymore. B4XD input exposes all these highly customizable UI properties directly in your IDE's designer window. You literally just point, click, type a property string, and the wrapper handles all the complex native Android execution in the background. Now, color management is absolutely crucial here, and this component handles it brilliantly using DaisyUI's semantic color tokens. Instead of hard-coding messy hex values, like a bright red for an error or a specific green for success, you just use these readable semantic string tokens in the variant property. We're talking primary, secondary, accent, info, success, warning, and error. By using these semantic names, you're setting up your UI to be incredibly adaptable. Let's say your app's primary brand color changes tomorrow from blue to purple. No problem. You just update that underlying color token once, and every single text area set to the primary variant instantly updates across your entire application. It's just such a beautifully structured way to maintain consistency. Check out this visual map. We're looking at everything from your standard neutral colors all the way down to the error variant. Notice the crisp purple of the primary text area, the bright blue of the info box, that really reassuring green for the success state, and of course that highly visible red outline for error. And these aren't just static colors either. The component dynamically blends these variant colors with the background when the input is disabled, or it solidifies them the second a user clicks into type. It effortlessly adapts the borders and text styles to instantly communicate the state of the form to your user. So if a user types an invalid email address, just setting the state to error gives you that polished red outline validation look instantly. But hey, color is really only half the battle, right? Sizing is just as critical for a great user experience. Instead of forcing you to pull your hair out manually calculating margins and paddings just to make things look right, B4XD Daisy input uses these super simple size tokens. A size token of M, for medium, automatically calculates a base height of 40 density-independent pixels. Swap that to an LG token, and it scales up to 48 dip. And an XL or extra large token, that bumps it up to a very touch-friendly 56 dip. This simple string mapping ensures your touch targets are mathematically precise and, more importantly, consistent throughout your entire app. No more dragging and resizing elements pixel by pixel. And here's what happens when you scale that up on an actual device screen. Those 48 and 56 dip height calculations translate into these beautifully spacious, comfortable input fields for the large and X-large text areas. Plus, the font size actually scales up automatically to match the height. It uses an 18-point font for large and a 22-point font for extra large. That ensures the text inside doesn't look completely dwarfed by the larger box. This is incredibly useful if you're designing a form that really needs to stand out, like a primary search bar, or if you're building an interface that specifically needs larger, more accessible touch targets. Now, everything we've covered so far is fantastic for single-line inputs. But what about when a user needs to write, say, a whole paragraph, a bio, a comment, a review? This is where the component truly shines. Enter the auto height property. This is a super simple Boolean toggle, just true or false, that activates this powerful dynamic resizing feature. No more fixed height boxes where the user's text just disappears out of view, and no more massive empty boxes taking up half the screen before the user has even typed a single word. By toggling MZ Auto Height, you are basically telling the component to intelligently adapt to the content inside it. Okay, let's slow down a sec and look at the mechanics behind this, because the logic is actually brilliant. First up, the class actively monitors the text as it changes. It tries to count the visible text lines using the native Android getLineCount method via Java object. If for some reason that's not available, it has a smart fallback that scans the string for literal line feed characters. Second, it enforces minimum height bounds. It knows a text area shouldn't shrink down to nothing, so it enforces a minimum height, say 80 dip, keeping the UI looking like a proper multi-line box. Finally, it dynamically scales the overall height by multiplying that base size we talked about earlier by the calculated line count. And it computes all this layout math in real time, instantly adjusting the view layout. It's so cool. And when you see it in action, it is literally so smooth. The placeholder invites the user to type here and press enter to add more lines, and as they type and the text wraps to a new line, or as they hit the return key, the entire boundary of the text area just smoothly expands downwards. The borders, the background, the shadows, everything resizes perfectly together. It creates this deeply satisfying modern user experience that genuinely mimics the best chat and messaging apps on the market. And remember, all of this is enabled just by checking a true box in your designer. No custom code required. So if we had to summarize the core value proposition of what we've explored today, it really comes down to this. It makes Android UI design a breeze by replacing complex custom code with simple designer properties. That really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We've seen how hundreds of lines of complex native Java and layout calculations have just been totally abstracted away. Whether you need a transparent ghost input, a visually validated error state, perfectly scaled touch targets, or an intelligent auto-growing comment box, the B4XDaisy UI wrapper gives you the exact tools to implement it in seconds. It saves you massive amounts of development time and effort. Well, that brings us to the end of this visual guide, but I want to leave you with one final thought, or rather a challenge. With these dynamic, auto-growing, semantically styled text areas now right at your fingertips, what are you going to build next? Seriously. Think about how these efficient workflow tools can elevate the polish and professionalism of your very next project. I highly encourage you to drop these into your layouts and experiment with the variants yourself. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and I will catch you in the next one.